Welcome back to the Deep Dive series as we continue to go through each and every NFL team and come up with a realistic prediction and outcome for the 2022 NFL season. Keep in mind, this isn't being distributed based on power rankings. It's based on where they'll fall in the draft order, because at the end of this, we're doing a 2023 NFL mock draft. Heck yeah, it's gonna be a ton of fun. If you already clicked on the video, you already know it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. They are 30. They're the first AFC team to be listed in the Deep Dive series, so apologies, Jaguar fans, though you ought to be used to it, but you're in a better place, I promise. But what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know so. And we're going to go ahead, do the nitty-gritty, and get into this. And, of course, we're going to be starting with the offense. Here we go. And I guess let's first talk about kind of what the offense will look like schematically. Because, yeah, no Urban Meyer. Oh, hell yeah. Get that guy out of here. He sucked. Doug Peterson, he all right. Excuse me, he's a Super Bowl winning coach, but he brings in Press Taylor to be the OC of this squad, and Taylor worked under Doug Peterson with the Eagles as a quarterbacks coach, a passing coordinator from 2016 to 2020. So they're going to be like-minded when it comes to this offense, and I think we're going to see a lot of like these Y crosses and these spear concepts. Looks like I'm doing little scissors. The Acclaim, baby. Where's my AEW fans? Yo, Jaguars too? Yo, that's funny. Tony Khan, give me a shout out. But it's going to be, for all intents and purposes, the spread offense. It's this dynamic West Coast offense, if you will, and it's going to be very similar to what Trevor Lawrence ran there back at Clemson. He's going to be primarily working out of the shotgun, and the most important thing for this squad was to get playmakers for Trevor Lawrence, because he was let down by his playmakers last year, as his team was the third most in drops. I'm looking at you, Laviska Shenault. 10 drops? A 14% drop rate? I ain't surprised that he's been talked about when it came to a trade rumors, and we'll actually get into that, because there might be a case he's gone. But the additions of Zay Jones, Christian Kirk, even though you had to pay a pretty little penny, I mean, if that's what it means to get talent to Jacksonville, then yeah, you kind of got to do it. They also, they brought in plenty of speed. They also brought in Marvin Hall, who's a guy I think is likely to make the roster. They brought in Evan Ingram to play this Y-type role. You still got Travis Etienne, who could play a plethora, I think, of different roles. I think he might be in on that. You could see him lining up in the slot, lining up outside. And I think we're going to see a good amount of RPOs. Get the ball in the hands of your playmakers fairly quick. It won't surprise me if Travis Etienne ends up out-snapping James Robinson this year, just based on you can do a hell lot more with them in the passing game. When we talk about what the run game will look like, this is going to be an inside zone heavy team, especially after they targeted Luke Fortner at pick 65, who comes from Kentucky, which is a heavy inside zone blocking scheme. So doesn't surprise me one bit. So let's go ahead and go through it. You got Trevor Lawrence. You got Money Lawrence. I think there was a lot of bright spots last year, but yeah, there were some downs, to be fair. Urban Meyer and the coaching staff there, it was a very vanilla offense. It was a very predictable offense, and I think it ought to at least look a little bit better this year, considering the playmakers. I listed off a few. Christian Kirk, and it feels, honestly, let's be honest, it feels like a bunch of slot guys. Christian Kirk, Marvin Jones, Laviska Shenault, if he's still on the roster. Because I said this cat might be a trade candidate, and for all intents and purposes, I think that might be the case. When we get to my projected starters, it's gonna be Jones. It's gonna be Zay Jones, Marvin Jones. It's gonna be Christian Kirk. I don't know how Laviska fits into that. I mean, I think he works well for the RPO game. Keep in mind, this guy was very good after the catch, but he did after a very promising rookie season. He kind of fell into that sophomore slump. He did not take that next step you'd expect him to, like we saw from a plethora of different wide receivers from the 2020 class. They also brought in Treadwell. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't think Treadwell makes the roster. Like, even for a wide receiver 4 or 5, it's a bit lackluster. Jamal Agnew really isn't. He's a return man. They list him here at receiver. I mean, he could be listed at corner too. But he's a return man. That's what he came in to do. I think the name to keep an eye out for is my boy out of Notre Dame, Kevin Austin Jr. I think he could make the roster, especially if they decide to move Laviska Shenault. And even if they don't, I think Agnew's not going to count against, I think they're going to want to keep 5 to 6 receivers. And I don't think they're going to count Agnew among the bunch. So I see Shenault, as long as they decide to retain him. Hopefully he could rebound after the sophomore slump. And then I think it's Hall, and I think it's Kevin Austin Jr. This guy came on late for the Fighting Irish in the 2021 season, and he was just one of the favorite targets for Jack Cohn down the stretch. And then he came to the combine and just blew it out the water for a guy his size, running a sub 40. He had a sub 7-second 3 cone. He had a very, very impressive workouts, and definitely a guy worth rolling the dice on. I was surprised he didn't get drafted. But they bring in Evan Ingram, who's a receiving tight end. He's a guy that fits more into that Y role, that he's not a guy you want to really see in line. But they have a block. They have Chris Manhertz, who's more of this blocking tight end. Dan Arnold, I think, could get involved. I think they'll probably, if they retain a 4th tight end, it's probably Luke Farrell, a guy with just really good size, good athletic upside too. Just didn't really get involved in an Ohio State offense that he was. To be fair, they had a lot better talent to get the ball in the hands of. So. Is what it is. Now, how will the offensive line do? Because for all intents and purposes, they're bringing back the same offensive line. Instead, they decide to upgrade from AJ Cann to a Brandon Sheriff that you're hoping can stay healthy. But they bring in Wes Martin, who he's an all right backup, a guy you don't really want to start, but if he must, then fine, we will take him. Cam Robinson's going to be the interesting name. He's not been awful. He was all right last year. I don't think he's been nearly as dominant as a run blocker as he's been in years past. But the pass protection has gotten much better when it comes to Cam Robinson. But I'm very encouraged. If they decide whether it's Taylor Lewan, if Taylor Lewan doesn't just take that next step, he has been very mediocre since the last half of his rookie season. So I'm very encouraged to see Walker Little, because with the few snaps that he got last year, I thought he looked pretty darn well. Ben Barch steps into a starter role now with Norwell gone. And I think I think he played actually a good amount of snaps because of injury last year. 700 snaps. So pretty darn solid. And I think center's going to be interesting. I think Luke Fortner might edge it out just since they spent the 65th pick on him. But also, Tyler Shantley was not bad. When Brandon Linder went down, Shantley was actually pretty darn good. So it will not surprise me if they decide to go with Shantley early on. They have Will Richardson there. Actually, a guy from a draft class. God, how long ago, actually? Does it tell me? Was it the 2018 draft? Literally the only guy left, I think, from that draft class. But he's fine depth. When needed and when called upon, he's okay. He's okay. A guy that actually can play either the guard or the tackle spot. So they might not really have to rely on a Wes Martin, and preferably I think you would not. But The offensive, like, it's interesting. It's not like, I don't know if it's like a top 15. It's not a top 15 offensive line, but it's in that like 16 to like 24, 25 spot. Like, and you know, this is what you do. You want to creep towards average when it comes to the offensive line. You really don't want any one weak spot. Like, it's better to have 5 average starters on the offensive line than to have like 2 all-stars. Because then if you're weak at 2 or 3 positions, teams will just exploit that weakness. It's better just to have 5 very like average starters than just to have these guys like, oh yeah, they were Pro Bowler at the time, but yeah, the rest of the line sucked, and that's why we didn't have a good offensive line. So honestly, I don't mind the approach here. And I talked about Travis Etienne quite a bit, but they do have James Robinson, who's not this like home run threat. He's more of the hammer, and actually he goes pretty well with the inside zone blocking scheme. He's the guy that likes to hit those B gaps. So good for you. They bring in Snoop Connor. I'm kind of like whatever. He's a big back that's got better than you would expect speed. So bigger back, I should say. They also, it's gonna be interesting if they keep a third running back, because I'm not gonna lie, I really don't like what they have. Mekhi Sargent might be interested, but Raquel Armstead, I remember a few years ago, I thought he was gonna take that, be the guy to step up. I forgot who was there that went down, but they had injury, and I thought it was gonna be initially him, and then he ran into injury, or was it Rona protocol, and it was actually James Robinson that ended up being like, don't worry, I'll put the team on the back. So the offense, very encouraging. I think this offense is going to be a lot better. And yeah, sure, they may not have like any one-star receiver, but they have what you need at wide receiver. They have spice. Variety is the spice when it comes to receiver. You want to have a lot of guys that do a lot of different things, and they got that there at receiver. So I'm okay with that. So I'm pretty encouraged when it comes to the offense. It's the defense I'm a little shaky on. Like, there's some things you do like and some things you just don't. But let's talk about what's going on schematically. As they got Mike Caldwell. He primarily worked under Todd Bowles for his career. Safe to assume he's going to retain the same 3-4 front, but he's going to bring a lot more exotic blitz packages. And you know what? They should take advantage of that, because they have a ton of athletes at edge. Ton of athletes. Josh Allen, Travon Walker, like freaky athletes. Aiden Key. You got Jordan Smith out of UAB going into his second year. They still have Clavon Chazon. He hasn't emerged yet, and he might never. But the dude, you can't deny it. Dude's a wonderful athlete. You get Dwayne Smoot in on that rotation, who, yeah, he's not like anywhere close to the athlete than the guys that I listed off, but he's a high motor guy that plays very well, and I think he's a very good, one of the better rotation edge players in the league. Then you got a big meaty man in the middle like Foye Fadokasi, a dude that's just literally going to be eating double teams for days. You have guys like Roy Robertson Harris, who can exploit. They can be like gap penetrators. So I like that. I mean, they also got Jay Tufele. I can never get his name right. I remember when people got stupid high, like at the beginning of the draft process. So we were talking like October, November. I saw his name float around in the first round. I was like, these people out their mind. This is ridiculous. It ends up being a 4th rounder. I was like, that sounds about right. But he's another guy who's very much so a very penetrator. But we'll talk more about the depth in a little bit. But they also have linebackers there, or at least in Devin Lloyd, that could exploit these exotic blitz packages, because the dude's a very good blitzer. He's a guy you could even line up on the edge occasionally and just tell him, hey, go get it, go after it. They have guys at linebacker who can cover. Foye Oluokun, Devin Lloyd, he was solid. I don't think he's going to be a detriment. If anything, he's got length. You'd be like, oh, he's not like the best athlete at linebacker, but he's so darn long that he's going to clog passing lanes that way. Chad Muma, who was one of my favorite linebackers in the draft, they snagged, so he's going to be sitting there just as quality depth. Shaquille Quarterback, more of a special teamer, but another guy who's this more of a straight line athlete, but an athlete nonetheless. It's really the secondary where I start to like, we'll see. Like the pass rush, I'm still a bit questionable on. But it's a secondary, which, I mean, they're going to be playing plenty of press, and you know what? They got a lot of guys that can play press. Tyson Campbell, coming from Georgia, played a lot of press. You got Shaquille Griffin, coming from Seattle, playing that cover 3 press. You got Trey Herndon, just a big boy there. They got these guys they picked up in the late day 3. Gregory Jr., who's out of college, I'm not going to mispronounce, Baptist, tested out exceptionally well, just ended up being at a low-level competition school, Marterick Brown. So, like, I'm encouraged. Like, the depth doesn't seem like it's completely there, but like, between Campbell and Griffin, I'd be encouraged about at least that starting duo. They brought in Darius Williams, which was a bit of a curious pickup because he's more of this off coverage corner because the dude is lacking in stature, but he's been very good in that role and being off coverage and utilized on the outside and on the inside. But he comes in here, it looks like he's really just going to play the slot. So I'm kind of intrigued how that will work out for him. You also can mention Trey Herndon being a guy that they actually used in the slot a little bit last year. And then at safety, they list Andrew Wingard, who this man deserves playing time. I'm not going to lie to y'all. For me, it would be Jenkins, would be the odd man out, because I want my boy Andre Cisco out on the field. Yeah, he could be a blown coverage waiting to happen, but also he makes up for what he can do as a playmaker. And from the little we saw, because Urban Meyer was a stinking idiot, from the little that we saw from him, I was very encouraged with what I saw. But I mean, if you are going to be playing these like this cover 3, you're gonna end up cover 3, cover 1, you're gonna have a guy creeping in the box. I'd rather have Jenkins in that role. So I still think I'm kind of curious how Cisco fits into this, because for sure the starters probably Wingard and Jenkins, but like Cisco brings more of the playmaking ability in that regard. They got Daniel Thomas, who's more of this just box guy. Rudy Ford's more of a special teamer at this point in his career. But like, there's some stuff to be encouraged about. Like, I like the direction. I like that. I especially defensively. Yeah, you know what? Like, Travon Walker might take a minute to come along, but like his body type and just him as an athlete, so versatile. You could use him in a plethora of ways where you could still bring out like a Josh Allen. You could still maybe bring out Clavon Chason, Jordan Smith, Arden Key, these more athletic guys that have Walker maybe kick inside. See, Walker, like, he played so much like his first instincts run contain. They really didn't just be like, tap him on the shoulder, be like, hey, we want you to go get after it. He's very unpolished as a pass rusher. Like, if he wins a lot early, it's going to just because of he's going to have a mean bull rush, because he's stupid lanky, stupid strong, and very explosive. He's not going to win on technique. And you know what? Like, that's the thing. Like, a lot of people hate on the Travon Walker pick, but I also get it because his tools lend it, like, just how he's built and how physically, athletically gifted he is, the floor is going to be exceptionally high, because honestly, he could just get by on that. So that'll be interesting to see. You're also demanding Josh Allen. You need to step up. You need to take that next step to, like, I was picked 7th. I think it was 7th overall, because I'm a future Pro Bowler. So you need to eclipse. I think the most amount of pressures he's had in a season is 50. I could be wrong about that. I'm actually going to go check, because I don't want to be just talking out my anus, you know? Josh Allen. Yeah, last year, 50 was the most he's had. So it's like he needs to step up. Like, we need you to be a 70 to 80 pressure guy like a season type of player. We need that. We need the pass rush. This is something that's sorely lacked. You're not going to get it from Smoot. Smoot can do it in a rotation role, not as a number 2. So Walker, it's going to be interesting how he kind of plays into this. Talking about more about the defensive line and its depth, like the interior, because it's going to be Fadokasi who's going to be this just big, meaty boy that's eating double teams. That, he could be a pocket puncher. He's going to be more of a run stuffer. You got Devon Hamilton, who's, again, another nose tackle, kind of the same akin of a Fadokasi. Malcolm Brown, who I think is going to be more in that role. And then you got guys like Jay Tufele, Roy Robertson Harris, who's the other guy who I'm like anxious primed to see in this defense. Like again, if it's anything like Todd Bowles, there's a lot to be encouraged about. Like, this defense might have some of these better NFL offenses on the ropes, just because they're going to be like, you're not going to be seeing the same thing twice. You're going to be thrown for a loop almost every play. It's gonna be nice. They got a guy like Adam Gaddis, who's really just depth, more of a career journeyman at this point. Really nothing else much to talk about here on the interior. Again, I'm gonna be intrigued what they do with Darius Williams. Like, he's a player I really like. I just don't see how he fits into this offense outside of just, okay, you're the slot guy, but they're paying him a lot of money just to be the slot guy, you know? So it's like, I don't know. It'll be intriguing how they use him. Can they use him in a versatile manner? Is he a guy that they don't mind throwing on the outside? Because keep in mind, Tyson Campbell early in his rookie season played in the slot, so he's also a guy that's capable of kicking inside if they need him to. You could literally play this like a chess match. It's just with this squad, it's like the problem is depth. Like, they have some players, they have some ballers there in the starting lineup. It's just depth is not that great. They don't have guys that you feel good about rotating in and out. And even then, with the pass, like, for me, it's the pass rush. Does this pass rush take the next step? We'll see. Josh Allen, we need you. Travon Walker, I'm expecting him to be like pretty good. Just like, I don't know. Again, very unpolished. Arden Key, he's shown he could, in a rotation manner, like, dude can be disruptive. So that's going to be something interesting to watch. I guess let's go ahead and get to my projected starters. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so starting with the offense, Trevor Lawrence, easy. I put James Robinson here. I think that's something that, again, Travis Etienne, you can make a point where it's like, well, this guy, just because maybe this team might be playing from behind, because, again, I got him ranked at 30, so it's like, but maybe if they're playing from behind, or if they are going to be playing a bit more pass happy, a bit more spread, then, or out of shotgun, that they maybe prefer to have a guy like Travis Etienne. Not to say Travis Etienne's this guy that can touch the ball 20 times a game, but I can see him definitely getting, he's going to be more involved in the passing game than James Robinson. Christian Kirk, Marvin Jones, Zay Jones. Again, I think something might happen with Laviska Shenault, as in via a trade. Evan Ingram, Cam Robinson, Ben Barch. I got Luke Fortner here. Wouldn't surprise me if it's Tyler Shantley, though. Brandon Sheriff, hopefully stay healthy, and Jawan Taylor going to the defense. Josh Allen, Travon Walker. I got Fadokasi, and then I got Roy Robertson Harris. Then a linebacker, I got Luakun Lloyd. At corner, Campbell Griffin. I'm listing Darius Williams here as a slot. Kind of curious how they will utilize him. And then I'm putting Andre Sisco, dude. I really think this dude's such a playmaker. I don't think you can keep him off the field. I really don't. And then Rayshawn Jenkins. So I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and get into how I think this squad will perform, my prediction for them. And I got them at 4-13. another team, like much like Atlanta, I was talking about in yesterday's video, that I could feel they could win 7 games, but I feel a lot better about this squad because, well, for one, quarterback. I think Trevor Lawrence is a better quarterback than Marcus Mariota. It's just the meat and potatoes of things. Their offensive line is a bit more put together than Atlanta's. So it wouldn't surprise me to see this team win more games than I project. Like I said, I'm keeping the big L here in the background because I'm willing to take the L if I'm wrong about this. I don't mind. That's why we got the chat here. Like, I love having that football discourse with you guys. I don't mind talking about this. But I got the Jags actually going 2-3 through their first few games. I got them going 3-3 in the division. I think they'll be competitive in the division. Washington, I think it will be a better team than people anticipate. I kind of mentioned this in my in the Atlanta deep dive that really my biggest qualm with Washington is their coordinators. There's nothing inspiring about them. They're pretty predictable. But I mean, that Giants game's very winnable here, but I got them losing it, so my bad. Look at this, dude. My screen's frozen, so I don't even know who this team is. I mean, I guess I could use my my noggin to think about it, but I don't think I really want to. It's some team in red. All right, who do the Jags face in Week 10? Jaguars, Week 10, 2022. Chiefs. Oh, yeah. No. You might be taking the L here. You may have shocked the Buffalo Bills. I don't know about the Chiefs. Then again, the Chiefs did have that little streak of stank last year, so... but I mean, I think it's safe to say the Giants is a winnable game. Detroit could be a winnable game. Though Detroit, I think, is a team you don't want to face during the last last stretch of the year. I think that's going to be a much better team, especially when December comes. I don't think that's a team you're going to want to face. Got y'all beating the Jets, and I'm not going to lie. I kind of like the Jets this year. I kind of like the Jets. So... yeah. No. I got 4 wins, but again, could very easily, I think it's more in the 4 to 7 range. Again, when you do predictions for every NFL team, see, I mentioned Chiefs, and Gojo's got to get in on the action. He's a big Chiefs fan. But when you're doing predictions, you're gonna end up doing okay, I have this team hitting their floor. I have this team hitting their ceiling. You're going to have teams rated higher than others that, oh man, I really think this team could be better than that. But that's what happens when you make predictions. You got to make one call or the other. And when it came to predicting for the Jags, I am give them 4. I think 4 is about right. That's probably the I don't think they're going to lose. I don't think they're going to win less than 4 games, but I could definitely see them winning more. But you let me know what you think in the comment section below. Hey, if you Jags fans or anything like Dolphins fans, then yo, you shouldn't be too optimistic. But that's it for the video. Go ahead to the YouTube thing. Gojo, do you want to go ahead? You want to introduce yourself? Gojo's here for the good showing. Here are the Chiefs. We ain't gonna be talking about the Chiefs for a while, Gojo. So sorry, buddy. But until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.